By RCP President and co-founder Tom Bevan and Washington Bureau Chief Carl Cannon. So Tom, once again, we've got new polls, including Forbes Harris poll that shows Trump up 2 points nationally. I know these polls are just snapshots in time, and we remind our listeners of that from time to time. But is the general polling trend showing Trump gaining ground on her in the national head-to-head? And what about the swing states?
He is gaining a little bit of ground, but I mean, it's just tiny. I mean, I think she was up 0.9 of a point yesterday. She's up 0.7 of a point nationally. So, but again, that's even when you're aggregating, 10 or 12 polls, which would reduce the margin of error, that's still within the margin of error. I mean, we are talking about a very, very small number. Again, you need to go though and to take the broader look at this, which is, if these polls are accurate, she's running 7.5 points behind where Joe Biden was on this day, 2 weeks before the election 4 years ago. And she's running over 5 points behind where Hillary Clinton was on this day 8 years ago. And so that, I think, speaks to, the landscape that she's in. And in the battlegrounds, Trump is up 1.1 in an average of those 7 battlegrounds. But we did just get some new numbers from Quinnipiac that maybe show a little movement in Harris's direction.
Well, Carl, is that good news for Kamala? I mean, if she's moving in the right way, at least in one state.
Well, this race is so close. People are doing things that they wouldn't normally do, and we need to be careful not to do it ourselves. They're seeing a small movement in a poll well within the margin of error that would be considered insignificant in a normal year, and saying, momentum for Trump, momentum for Harris. I just think, we had a piece by Sean Trendy. And he says, I'm reading tea leaves here. And that's all we've got. What we know we have is a contest that is close nationally and exceedingly close in the 7 or 8 states that we're all watching. So if anybody tells you they know how this is going, I'd reach for my wallet.
Well, Tom, I looked at the 5-way today because there's a debate tonight among a few of the independent presidential candidates. And later in the program, I'm going to talk to Mike Leon about that. But interesting, Kennedy, of all things, is having a bump. He is up to 5.5% just in the last couple of days. And again, I don't know if it means anything. Maybe it's noise, but it's a pretty remarkable upturn in a race that nothing else seems to be moving. And all of a sudden, I see this little bump for Kennedy. Am I overreading the tea leaves?
Yes, I think you are. Look, we have a Marquette poll that was back from the beginning of October that had Kennedy at 9. Now, most of the pollsters aren't even asking about Kennedy anymore because he suspended his campaign. Now, he is going to be on the ballot in a couple of these battleground states, and that could present some issues for Donald Trump. We'll have to see whether that plays out to be the case. But, Chase Oliver, the Libertarian, he's at 1%. Cornel West is at 0.8%, and Jill Stein is at 0.8%. So you combine those 3 candidates, and you're looking at, 2.5 points. And, I'll be surprised if they actually get that. I mean, you're looking at these early vote numbers. You're looking at the intensity levels. I think voters on both sides are going to turn out in huge, huge numbers this year. And I think I'll be shocked if the third party candidates end up getting hardly anything. But again, in some of these states, a couple thousand votes here or there might actually make a difference.
Well, I agree with that, Tom. But I would add this thought to it. The Democrats' theory of this case all along, even when Joe Biden was still in the race, is that Trump has a ceiling, and that his ceiling is 47 or 48%, and that is it. But if he gets all of that ceiling, if he gets his ceiling and the other candidates that we named get 2.5%, then maybe that's enough.